The Dazier report. Let me open up your mind. Boston patient removed from heart transplant list for being unvaxxed. A 31-year-old father has been removed from the heart transplant list at a Boston hospital because he is refusing to get the C-19 vax. His fam said. DJ Ferguson's family say he was first on the list to receive the transplant at Brigham and Women's Hospital, but he is no longer eligible because of his vax status. This is the CBS Boston reporting. His father, David Ferguson, said his son, who is fighting for his life in the hospital and is in desperate need of the transplant, doesn't believe in the C-19 vax. It's kind of against his basic principles. He doesn't believe in it. It's a policy they are enforcing, and so because he won't get the jab, or I like to call it the Googly Moogly, they took him off the list of a heart transplant, David told the outlet. My son has gone to the edge of death to stick to his guns, and he's been pushed to his limits. Ferguson has 2 children and is expecting a third with his partner Heather, according to a GoFundMe page set up for him. Brigham and Women's Hospital, which is a Harvard teaching facility, said research has shown transplant recipients were at a much higher risk of dying from C-19 compared to non-transplant patients. We do everything we can to ensure that a patient who receives a transplanted organ has the greatest chance of survival, a spokesperson told the Post. Our Mass General Brigham healthcare system requires several CDC recommended vax, including the C-19 vax, and lifestyle behaviors for transplant candidates to create both the best chance for a successful operation and to optimize the patient's survival after transplantation, given that their immune system is drastically suppressed. Patients are not active on the wait list without this. The hospital's policy requiring recipients to have the C-19 jab, or I like to call it the Googly Moogly, is in line with many other transplant programs across the U.S., the spokesperson added. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also recommends that immunocompromised people, which includes organ transplant recipients, be vaxxed because they are especially vulnerable to the C-19. The hospital denied that a candidate could be first on the list for a transplant because there are varying levels of priority for allocation of organs. Ferguson's families are thinking about relocating him to another hospital that doesn't have the vax policy, but fear he is already too weak to be moved. We are aggressively pursuing all options, but we are running out of time, David said. The family said the care he's received so far at Brigham and Women's Hospital has been great, but his relatives can't ignore Ferguson's beliefs. I think my boy is fighting pretty damn courageously, and he has integrity and principles he really believes in, and that makes me respect him all the more, David said. It's his body, it's his choice. Ferguson has been hospitalized since November, ever since his lungs started filling with blood and fluid due to hereditary heart issues. The GoFundMe page said the fundraiser said that his resistance to the vax, or I like to say the Googly Moogly, also has to do with his fears of heart inflammation, which health officials have said in rare cases have been associated with the jabs or the Googly Moogly. But in DJ's case, he cannot afford for his heart to swell any more than it already is. Right now, he is at extremely high risk of sudden death if it does. And that's what the page said. We have had many conversations with the doctors who confirm that his heart could swell and go into severe crisis, but they can't guarantee anything, and it's a choice we will have to make if he wants to be listed. Both Ferguson and his partner Heather, who are self-employed, have been unable to work since he was admitted, according to the site. It wasn't immediately clear what Ferguson did. It wasn't immediately clear what Ferguson did for a living, but the site said his job requires much physical labor. Ferguson isn't the first patient to be denied a transplant due to his vax status. Colorado woman Leilani Lutali was removed from the kidney transplant list in October because she and her donor hadn't been vaxxed. UC Health, which operates hospitals and urgent care facilities throughout Colorado, said the C19 vax, or I like to say the Googly Moogly, was one of several measures patients needed to take to give the organ the best chance of not being rejected. The health system said the driving force behind its vax policy was studies showing transplant patients are more likely to die if they contract C19. The mortality rate for transplant patients who get C19 is more than 20%, according to UC Health. An organ transplant is a unique surgery that leads to a lifetime of specialized management to ensure an organ is not rejected, which can lead to serious complications, the need for a subsequent transplant surgery, or even death. UC Health told the Post at the time physicians must consider the short and long term health risks for patients as they consider whether to recommend an organ transplant. Ohio man Mike Gannon, who is vaxxed against C19, was denied a kidney transplant last October because his donor hadn't received her Googly Moogly. I don't want to get the Googly Moogly. I've got reasons, medical, religious, and also freedom. The donor Sue George told WKYC. So this is serious, man. Like they're pushing it to that extreme and everything, and it's like people they gotta understand. It's not that people don't want to get the jab or I like to say the Googly Moogly. I call it Googly Moogly because I think it's a bunch of baloney that that people are being forced to take something against their will, which to me is disrespectful. But it is what it is, and this is their rules. Me, have I taken it? Yes, I have taken the Googly Moogly. I haven't took the extra pop, which is the booster. But to me, a lot of people react differently to this vax, and they do. Some people heart swell up, or some people have blood clots happen, and this is a known fact. So I hope the man does well. And like I said, it doesn't matter the color, but at the end of the day, they're sticking by their guns. And that's what the CDC and that's what these doctors are doing. They're sticking by their guns and they're not going to change. They're going to continue being the same. They're going to continue doing what's best for them and their guidelines. And to me, it's a bunch of bull crap because some people don't react well to it. And instead of them being big about it, like, you know what, we're going to try to change some things and help people that have a bad reaction to it. You got people like Judge Joe Brown saying, well, it's normal for people to have, bad reactions. Some people aren't going to make it through this. That's the point of it. Like, we have to test it to see how well it continues to work. Well, I know about that. I believe every person in human life is very precious, and I think that, you know, some people, it, some people it doesn't do well for their body, and they need to be honored in that, and they need to be, to me, these people at the CDC and doctors and stuff, they need to be more sympathetic and have empathy, but that's dead in today's world. It is what it is. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you do love what you hear, you can hit that link and to take you to my Cash App. You could donate $1. You could donate $1,000,000. Whatever you feel like you want to give, we accept. So thank you for listening. This is the Dazier Report, and we're signing off. Peace.